What is going on, Colts Nation? Welcome back to another episode of Bring the Juice. Guys, this is the studs and duds from the Colts' second preseason game against the Arizona Cardinals. As you guys can probably guess, a lot more studs in this game than duds. There's a lot of really good moments for the Indianapolis Colts in this game. Obviously, after a win, there typically tends to be a lot more of the studs in that regard. But we'll go ahead and hop into it, guys. Let us know in the comments what you guys are thinking about who are studs and who are duds as well, if we missed any. But we'll go ahead and hop into it, guys. The first stud of the game and was easily the player of the game, if you ask me specifically. And that was Xavier Scott. 11 carries for 55 yards and a touchdown in that game. Was running, he was running like it was definitely his job on the line, man. He definitely had some really great runs, some really good bounce out runs, showed great power, even after contact, was able to still make some plays. So it's fantastic to see Xavier Scott performing at that level. Definitely could see him remaining on the practice squad and waiting for an opportunity, specifically since we know sometimes the running back room has a few injuries of its own. Sometimes you got to have a few of those ready. So Xavier Scott definitely impressing in that game for sure. Really, I mean, for the most part, most of the entire running back room was studs in this game. Tyler Goodson, 6 carries for 35 yards and a touchdown. So he was averaging 6 yards a carry. And he looked insanely good to start off the game. Evan Hall had a couple good runs. He also averaged 6.5 yards on 4 carries for 26 yards. So, from the rushing standpoint, your 3 top rushers, all of your running backs, I mean, you finished with 21 carries and you finished with over 110 yards. So you're averaging 5 yards a carry. I mean, that's over 5 yards a carry. I mean, that's really good from your running back group to be able to get that done. It was one of the many reasons why the Colts won this game. And then from the receiving end point, Laquan Treadwell. And I know we kind of talked about this, a lot of these players in the recap video. So if you guys haven't checked that out, I highly encourage you to do so. But Treadwell, man, I mean, I wish that it wasn't such a full group at wide receiver for the Indianapolis Colts, and we could easily see Laquan Treadwell making his way into this group. But I still don't see a way that Laquan makes it. But, I mean, he had a day. I mean, 7 catches for 72 yards. Everything that was thrown at him, he caught and made big plays out of it. So, Laquan Treadwell having himself a phenomenal game. He was definitely a stud. He was playing like the best player out on the field. Moving to offensive line-wise, stud work was Dalton Tucker once again. I'll tell you what, guys, Dalton Tucker I think he may be the most surprise addition to the roster, to be completely honest with you. I don't think that there's any way that the Colts are going to cut Dalton Tucker because, I mean, I'll be honest. I mean, when we talk about Gonsalves, we talk about Bortolini, we talk about Pinter, we talk about, and now that French is gone, Pinter's going to have to now move to center. That guard position, the Colts are really trying to look for that depth at the offensive line at the guard position, particularly. And Dalton Tucker, I'll be completely honest, outside of the starters, has looked like maybe the best offensive lineman that the Colts have. So outside of your starters, everyone on the depth pieces, so far in the 2 preseason games that I've watched specifically, Dalton Tucker has looked like the best offensive lineman the Colts had on their depth. That's over Danny Pinter. That's over Josh Sills. That's over Blake Freeland. that's over the rookies in Bortolini and Gonzalez. And this, I believe he's an undrafted free agent, if I'm not mistaken. And Dalton Tucker, he's out there balling, man. He's been keeping the pocket clean. He's been able to move people in the run game. He's played really well. Him and Gonzalez on that right side have looked pretty solid. Gonzalez didn't have a great day yesterday, but it was far from a terrible performance. It just wasn't a great performance by him. But especially in that first week, that right side of the offensive line looked good. And Dalton Tucker is a big reason for that. So Dalton Tucker, to me, has been one of the biggest surprises of the preseason so far because he has just been balling, man. He might be a surprise depth add to our collection here. Because I'm going to talk about somebody else here shortly that a couple other guys shortly that might be cut or might, lose their spots. And Dalton Tucker might be the one to replace him. But before we go any further on duds, we'll go back to our studs here. Jason Bean went 7 of 9 yesterday for 94 yards. Also had 4 carries for 14 yards and a touchdown inside around the goal line. Did have an interception the other day. Yes, he did have that interception. It was a great play on the ball by Darren Hall. But outside of that one pass, Jason Bean was extremely accurate, good with the ball, and used his legs efficiently. It was definitely a good performance by Jason Bean. And I think with his skill set, definitely could leave him to be open for that third quarterback spot if something were to happen. So definitely like what I see out of Jason Bean from that game. Moving over to the defense now, who has quite possibly been the best defensive player the Colts have had in the first 2 preseason games, and that's Isaiah Land. Land had a strong first game, but then this second game, he just staked his claim. 3 tackles, 1 sack, 2 tackles for a loss, and 2 QB hits. I mean, Isaiah Land has just been absolutely phenomenal, has really been stepping it up, and he might make it on the back end of this roster because of it. I mean, he's been playing out of his mind. Out of Adebawari, also with a great day yesterday. 2 tackles, 1 sack, 1 tackle for a loss, 2 QB hits. So Adetomiwa getting some help in there as well. So really awesome to see a pair of young guys trying to find their way in, and they really did a great job. Last defensive player here and the last stud for the game that we had was Nick Cross. I know Nick Cross only played a couple of snaps. He did only played a couple series in that second game, but definitely looked the part. I mean, Nick Cross had 5 tackles in the first couple of series, 1 tackle for a loss. So Nick Cross was all over the field, making good plays. He was playing at strong safety yesterday. Not entirely sure what they're going to do with Nick Cross, but I feel like Nick Cross really had to respond in a good way to handle what was being thrown at him we've been saying it all preseason and all off season that Nick Cross needs to be better. And Nick Cross definitely played well last night, but we'll have to see how that looks throughout the rest of the offseason. But we can now move to the duds, guys. And first things first, we have to talk about Matt Gay. I will say off the top of this that Matt Gay said that he typically didn't have his best placer, which I believe is Rigo usually. And Sanchez obviously was not there because him and his wife were welcoming a baby girl into the world yesterday. So congratulations to him. Obviously had to miss the preseason game because of it. And I believe he's the one that typically holds for Matt Gay. And Gay accredited that to the reasoning why it was not a great day for him, because some of the kicks were not placed the way that he liked. And Spencer Schrader, who had to do that for the first time ever. He gave him credit for doing it. But I don't think that I don't think things were going right for Matt Gay because maybe the placements weren't correct. The rest of the staff seems to think that might have also been the case because they've said that they're not worried about Matt Gay going forward. All I will say is that, yeah, you're 0 for 3 now in this preseason on kicks. And, I certainly do hope that there is nothing to worry about. So, it is what it is. We'll do our best with it. Hopefully Matt Gay turns it around in the regular season. Duds as well. And the only other two that I really had were the two offensive linemen, Freeland and Sills. Honestly, if you wanted to put Jake Witt in this too, you could probably do that. I'll say this, guys, as much as I gave credit to Danny Pinter, I gave credit to Dalton Tucker, who have been really good so far to start this season, this preseason, and Gonçalves has shown a few things here and there. But the rest of the defense of the offensive line, like Freeland, Sills, and Witt, those guys, especially Freeland and Sills, those two are bad, man. I mean, those two are bad. I mean, there's so many reps where Sills and Freeland get blown off the block. I mean, it is bad. And it's very concerning, especially because we were hoping Blake Freeland was going to get... Because the excuse last year for Blake Freeland was, oh, he faced the best guys. Because when Braden Smith went down, Freeland faced the best guys. He faced Myles Garrett. He faced Aaron Donald at times. He faced T.J. Watt. Faced a couple other people. And so he faced some really good competition last year. And that was the excuse, that this is a rookie guy who's not really played the position for very long, and he's going up against some of the best players in the world. But at the same time, we're now looking at this here, and he's playing people at his level, and he's still getting destroyed a lot. It's not just once or twice, it's frequently. So it's really, really bad that Freeland is having this happen. And same with Sills. Sills has been around in this system for a little while. He's been the backup to Quentin Nelson. Thank God he hasn't had to play many snaps because he's been bad too. A lot of bad reps. So the Colts need to figure out their backup left tackle and their backup left guard situation, because if they don't, and Ryman or Nelson have to miss any significant time, we're screwed, man. We're absolutely screwed. So that's going to do it for this one, guys. Let me know your thoughts on the studs and duds. But thank you so much for tuning in, guys. And as always, go Colts.